Paul Skenes is unstoppable. Let's discuss on Fantasy Baseball Today in 5. Welcome into FBT in 5 on Friday, July 12th. It turns out Chris and I are huge Phillies fans. We didn't plan this, but it just kind of worked out this way. I am Frank Stampfl, joined by Chris Towers, and let's kick things off with Paul Skenes, who has been amazing. At the Brewers, he threw 7 no-hit innings with 11 strikeouts. The list of starting pitchers in the modern era to record multiple starts of at least 11 strikeouts and 0 hits in a single season. Paul Skenes and Nolan Ryan. End of list. Chris, he's been awesome. It's a 1.90 ERA. It's a .92 whip. If we didn't have concerns about maybe an innings limit, I think there is a legitimate argument for him to be the SP1 rest of season.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a legitimate argument for it, but look, Tarek Skubal and Chris Sale and all the, like, Tyler Glass now, if this back injury, like, there are some pretty good pitchers out there. Corbin Burns, Zach Wheeler, obviously. So I'm not quite ready to put Paul Skenes there. But if we're projecting ahead to next year, I don't know necessarily that I'm going to rank Paul Skenes as my number one starting pitcher. I think he's trending towards being the first pitcher taken in fantasy leagues next season. Whether, that's 100% the right call, I think remains to be seen. I don't know if he has quite the Spencer Strider strikeout upside, but look, I think the simplest way to put this is Paul Skenes was viewed as the best pitching prospect of his generation, probably since Steven Strasburg. And that was before he added the splitter to his arsenal, this 94-mile-an-hour splitter. For those of you kids out there who don't understand, I'm old enough to remember when a pitcher throwing a 94-mile-per-hour fastball meant that they threw pretty hard. Paul Skenes has a 94-mile-per-hour splitter that is just untouchable. Hitters can't do anything with it. So I don't know. Like, he's living up to our wildest expectations. I imagine there will be some regression. He won't be a sub-2 ERA pitcher moving forward. And given the innings concerns, yeah, I'll take a couple of pitchers over him. But we're 11 starts into his career, and I've got him as a top 5 starting pitcher. I think that says it all.
Yes, certainly does. Let's get into some waiver wire hitters, and there still could be some shallower leagues where JD Martinez is available. He went 3 for 3 with a double and 2 runs scored. Mm-hmm. He's 76% rostered. Chris, just in a vacuum, who would you prefer, JD Martinez or his teammate Mark Vientos?
So you asked in a vacuum, which takes away the positional stuff. So I think Martinez is more projectable. Vientos probably has a little more upside. The fact that he is third base eligible and Martinez is only DH eligible, I know that's not what you asked, but I'll give the edge to Vientos if both are available. But the likeliest outcome is Martinez is a better hitter the rest of the way, sure.
3 waiver wire hitters that we've talked about all week long on the full-length podcast. Masataka Yoshida over his last 10 games, batting .350 with 2 home runs and 11 RBI. Brandon Marsh, who just had a huge series against the Dodgers, 2 homers and 1 steal. And Michael Busch over his last 4 games, 9 hits, 2 homers, 7 runs, 6 RBI. Throw positions out the window, Chris. How would you prioritize adding Busch, Brandon Marsh, and Masataka Yoshida?
So I think all else being equal, I'll take Michael Busch pretty much across the board over Yoshida and Marsh because, one, when Busch gets hot, he seems to just get red hot. Strikeouts are an issue. I think that's going to make consistency an issue for him, but he has raised his OPS 63 points in the past 10 games. He is up almost 100 points since the start of June, or since like June 5th, I think is when the date was. And I think he's the kind of guy that when he's this hot, you want him in your lineup. I think it was 2 doubles, a walk, and 3 RBI, 3 runs, 2 RBI on Thursday night, 2 homers over the last 4 games. He seems to really lock in. Whereas Yoshida, I think he's going to hit for a good batting average, probably 275 plus. He doesn't really do a lot else. So he's one of those guys who's probably better in points leagues, which is the shallower format. And then Marsh, really good daily lineup split player. Get him in your lineup against righties. I think that's probably the extent of his utility outside of deeper, 15-team 5 outfielder leagues. So yeah, I would give Busch the edge there.
And we will wrap up with one more name. If you play in a one-catcher league and you're just looking to ride the hot hand, Tyler Stevenson is exactly that right now. 2 for 5 with a double dong, 5 RBI here on Thursday. He has 4 home runs over his last 3 games, only 46% rostered, so could be out there in some one-catcher leagues. For more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to the Fantasy Baseball Today podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, the Odyssey app, or anywhere else podcasts are found. Thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today in 5, and we will be back again tomorrow. Bye-bye.